Archaeologists were exploring in the wild. Suddenly he noticed a cave in the distance. Full of doubt, he rushed to the entrance of the cave to check it out, but to his surprise, he found a motionless man standing inside. No matter how he called, there was no response from the other side. The professor seemed to realize what was going on. He hurriedly called his dog and headed for home. After saying goodbye to his students and packed up his equipment, he went out into the field again. The professor first set up a rope in the cave at the foot of the mountain. Then he led the dog towards the cave. But as he approached the cave, the dog wouldn't come any closer. The professor had no choice. He had no choice but to make sure that the man hadn't moved. He entered the cave alone to find out what was going on. But before he could take a few steps, he realized that the air in front of him began to fluctuate, as if there was an invisible wall separating the cave from the outside world. This miraculous scene made the professor even more curious, so he didn't hesitate to go further into the cave. But the strange thing was, as he got closer to the man began to move slowly, until the professor had completely passed through the wall of air. The man resumed his normal activities. Seeing this scene, the professor was even more confused, but because the identity of the other party was unknown, and he was carrying a gun, he didn't dare to make a move. But what's even more bizarre, since he entered the cave, the light outside the cave began to flicker frequently. At the same time, there were shouts coming from the depths of the cave. The professor froze in his tracks. He realized that this place is very dangerous, immediately turned around and fled out of the cave. But when he ran out of the cave, he realized that the situation outside the cave was even more strange. Just a few minutes after entering the cave, the outside had changed from noon to night, and the dog that was supposed to be guarding the entrance of the cave had disappeared. The only good thing was that the car was still there. But when he got closer, he realized the car was covered in weeds and wouldn't start. At first, the professor thought it was a prank, until he saw his work permit, yellowed by oxidation. He realized that the matter was more complicated than he thought.